You're tired. Not the kind of tired that sleep fixes, the kind that sits in your chest the moment you wake up. The kind that makes your evenings feel heavier than they should. When most men hear the term self-care, they picture overpriced treatments, quick escapes from routine, or buying something just to feel better and numb the pressure for a moment. We turn self-care into a transaction, something you buy after burning yourself out. Instead of treating it as maintenance for your life, we treat it like a reward for surviving another round of stress. And if you're waiting for the right moment to start taking care of yourself, you've already lost. Most men treat self-care like an oil change. Something you do when the warning light comes on, something you schedule when things get bad enough. That's not self-care, that's damage control. But there's a different perspective worth considering. In Japan, taking care of yourself isn't about grand moments or rare breaks. It's woven into daily life through small, intentional actions. None of these practices require money, luxury, or much time. Only presence and consistency. The Japanese approach is simple. Steady habits that keep your body and mind aligned. These habits work because they target something fundamental in how we operate. They bring structure, sharpen awareness, and pull you back into the present moment instead of letting your mind run on autopilot. We will explore 7 Japanese self-care practices that genuinely work, and explain why they work. You can start applying them today. Just choosing to do something different with the time you already have. Asa no Mado, the morning window. What's the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning? If you're like most men, you reach for your phone. Email, news, messages, whatever fire needs putting out. You wake up, and within seconds, you're reacting. You're in defense mode before your feet hit the floor. The Japanese have a practice called Asa no Mado, morning window. It's exactly what it sounds like. In Japan, many people start their morning with something simple. They open the window fully. They let the cold air rush in and fill the room. They stand there for a brief moment, feeling the outside air, noticing the temperature, watching the birds, and listening to whatever the morning brings. This takes only a few seconds, and it serves a clear purpose. It does something specific to your nervous system. Opening the window creates a transition from sleep to wakefulness. It brings the outside world in and signals to your body that the day has begun. What makes this habit powerful is its simplicity, and the fact that you can do it every single day. It requires almost no effort, yet it creates a moment of intention. That small act of opening the window creates a mental opening as well. You're anchoring yourself in the present moment before the demands of the day begin. Kamaribi, sunlight. You spend most of your life indoors under artificial light. Your body doesn't know what to do with that. Kamaribi is a Japanese word that describes sunlight filtering through leaves. The fact that there's a specific word for this tells you something about the culture. They noticed this moment, they named it. They recognized it as valuable. You need sunlight as a biological requirement. Your circadian rhythm, the internal clock that runs everything in your body, from sleep to hormone production to mood regulation, is controlled by natural light. When you spend your days under fluorescent bulbs and screens, that clock drifts. You feel it as low energy, poor sleep, and a general sense that something is off. The fix is simpler than you think. 10 minutes of sunlight. Morning is best, but any natural light is better than none. Stand by a window, sit outside during lunch. Feel the warmth on your face, notice the quality of the light. This is biochemistry. Sunlight triggers cortisol production in the morning, which wakes you up. It suppresses melatonin during the day so it can build properly at night. It affects serotonin levels, which directly impacts your mood. You can supplement vitamin D, you can buy full-spectrum bulbs. But you cannot fully replace the sun. Your body knows the difference. Kamaribi specifically, sunlight through leaves, add something extra. The dappled pattern, the movement, the way it creates rhythm. There's research suggesting that fractal patterns in nature, like light through leaves or waves on water, have a calming effect on the nervous system. But you don't need to understand the mechanism. You just need to go outside, 10 minutes of sunlight on your face, no sunglasses, no phone. Just you and the light. You need to make contact with the natural world even in small ways. Because you're not a brain in a jar, you're an organism that evolved under the sky. Matcha no Gishiki, the matcha ceremony. Speed is killing you slowly. The modern world has convinced us to live at a rhythm that doesn't make sense. We're always rushing toward the next task, the next goal, the next notification. And that non-stop pace builds a quiet tension that lingers in the background, a pressure we eventually ignore, even though our bodies never stop carrying it. Matcha, the finely ground green tea at the center of Japanese tea ceremonies, offers a completely different pace. Making matcha the traditional way is the opposite of speed. You can't rush it. The water has to be the right temperature. The powder has to be measured. The whisking has to be done in a specific motion until it's smooth, until it's right. If you try to hurry, you ruin it. That's the point. You cannot make matcha properly while thinking about 3 other things. Your hands are busy. Your attention is required. For 3 to 5 minutes, you're doing one thing. When was the last time you did one thing? They convinced you that multitasking is a skill, but it's not. It's a survival strategy that eventually becomes a prison. Your brain wasn't designed to handle 12 things at once. It was built to focus on one thing with your full attention, and only then move to the next. Matcha practice trains you back into that natural state. The measuring, the whisking, the sound of the bamboo whisk against the bowl. These aren't steps in a process. They are anchors pulling you into the present. And here's what happens. By the time you drink the tea, your nervous system has downshifted. Because you moved slowly and deliberately for 5 minutes in a world that never lets you do that. This is self-care for men who don't have time for self-care. Because it's not extra time. It's time you're taking back from the constant acceleration that exhausts you. You don't need ceremony. You don't need the perfect bowl or the expensive whisk. You just need to make something with full attention. Coffee, tea, breakfast, doesn't matter. What matters is that you slow down enough to notice you're doing it. Before we continue, take a deep breath. And if this journey resonates with you, subscribe and activate notifications. Wisdom only transforms those who stay. Now, let's go deeper. Asa no Soji, the morning cleaning. You're tired in a specific way. Mentally exhausted but physically restless. You've been thinking hard all day but your body hasn't done anything. This combination drains you in a way that rest doesn't fix. Asa no Soji, morning cleaning, addresses this directly. You wake up and you clean something. Sweep the floor, wipe the counters, clear the sink, organize your desk. 10 minutes of simple physical work that requires just enough attention to keep you present. In Japanese schools, students clean their own classrooms. In temples, monks clean their spaces. This isn't about saving money on janitors. It's about cultivating a relationship with your environment. It's about starting the day with simple, clear work that produces immediate results. Modern work is abstract. You can spend hours and not see what you've accomplished. Cleaning is concrete. The floor is clean or it's not. The counter is clear or it's not. This directness is satisfying in a way that knowledge work rarely is. There's also something about the repetitive physical motions. Sweeping, wiping, organizing. These actions are calming. They give your body something to do while your mind settles. You're moving, but you're not stressed. You're focused, but you're not thinking hard. This is active rest. Your body is engaged enough that you can't ruminate, but not so engaged that you're creating new stress. You're in the zone between effort and ease, where presence happens naturally. You can start tomorrow with 5 minutes. Pick one small area: kitchen counter, bathroom sink, work desk. Clean it completely. Not while listening to a podcast or planning your day. Just clean. Let the work be the work. What you will notice, by the time you're done, you're fully awake. Just doing something simple with full attention and seeing immediate results from your effort. This sets a different tone than starting your day with social media, emails, or news. You're starting from order instead of chaos. You're starting from doing something instead of just consuming. The space being clean is a bonus. The real benefit is what happened in you while you were cleaning it. Siri and Seaton, clear space, clear mind. Your morning is set. Space is clean, mind is clear. But what about the weight you carry in that space? Look around your space right now. How much of what you see do you actually use? Siri means to separate and discard. Seaton means to organize what remains. Together, they form the foundation of maintaining a clean space. Not clean as in sanitized, clean as in intentional, free from what doesn't belong. Every object in your space takes up mental bandwidth. Your brain processes every item your eyes pass over. Most of this happens unconsciously, but the cost is real. The more stuff you have, the more background processing your mind is doing at all times. This is why a cluttered space makes you tired. It's not the mess itself, it's the constant low-level decisions your brain is making about all those objects. Should I move this? Do I need this? Why is this here? Multiply that by every item in view, and you're running a significant cognitive load for no reason. Men accumulate tools, gear, clothes we might wear, books we might read, parts for projects we might start. Each item represents a possible version of ourselves. Getting rid of it feels like giving up on that version. So we keep it, and it weighs us down. Siri asks a direct question. Do you use this? Not might you use it. If the answer is no, it goes. This isn't about minimalism as an aesthetic, it's about removing friction from your daily life. Every item you own is something you have to maintain, store, remember, and navigate around. Reduce the items, reduce the friction. Start small, one drawer, one shelf. Practice the question, do I use this? Be honest. If you haven't touched it in 6 months, you don't use it. Sentiment is different. Keep the things that matter emotionally. But that tool set you bought for a hobby you never started? The clothes that don't fit, but might someday? The cables for devices you no longer own? Let them go. Seaton. Organizing what remains becomes easy when you only have what you use. Everything has a place because there's room for everything to have a place. The result isn't just a cleaner space, it's a clearer mind. You walk into a room and your brain isn't processing 50 unnecessary items. It's just seeing space. That's rest. Well, you have handled the big things. Your morning, your space. Now let's talk about the small moments most men miss completely. Temizu, the practice of washing. How many times today did you wash your hands without noticing you were doing it? Temizu is the ritual washing done at Shinto shrines before entering sacred space. But the principle applies everywhere. It's not about getting clean, it's about transition. About marking a boundary between states. You wash your hands dozens of times per day. Each time is an opportunity to be present, to notice water temperature. The feeling of soap, the sound of running water, the sensation of your hands becoming clean. Most of the time, you're not there. You're thinking about the next thing while your body goes through the motions. This is normal. This is also a waste. Your life is made up of moments like this. Small, repeated actions that you do on autopilot. If you're not present for these moments, you're not present for most of your life. You're always somewhere else. Planning, reviewing, worrying. Never here. Temizu practice is simple. When you wash your hands, actually wash your hands. Feel the water. Notice the temperature. Pay attention to the soap between your fingers. This takes 0 extra time. You're washing your hands anyway. The only difference is where your attention is. This seems too simple to matter. That's exactly why it works. You're not adding something to your schedule. You're changing the quality of attention you bring to something you already do. The next time you wash your hands, observe everything. The sound, the sensation, the change in temperature. 30 seconds of full presence. That's the practice, that's self-care. Not because your hands are cleaner, because for 30 seconds, you were fully where you were. And that's rare enough to be valuable. Kodo, listening to scent. You're living in your head. Most of the day, you're not actually experiencing life. You're thinking about life, planning it, reviewing it, worrying about it. But you're not in it. The Japanese have a practice called kodo, incense appreciation. In the West, we'd call it smelling, but that misses the point. Kodo is about listening to scent. The phrase itself tells you something. This isn't casual. This requires attention. Traditional kodo ceremonies involve sitting in silence while incense burns. No talking, no distraction, just experiencing the scent with complete focus. When your mind wanders, and it will, the scent brings you back. You don't need a ceremony, you just need the principle. Pick something with a distinct smell. Coffee brewing, wood burning, rain on concrete, whatever. Give it your complete attention for maybe 60 seconds. Notice where you feel it in your nose, your throat, your chest. Your mind will resist this. It will tell you that you have things to do, that you're wasting time. That resistance is exactly why you need this. You have trained yourself to ignore sensory experience, to override it, to push through it. That strategy works until it doesn't. Until you're so disconnected from direct experience that everything feels gray, even when objectively things are fine. Kodo practice rewires that disconnect. Pulls you out of abstract thinking and into concrete sensation. Scent is chemical, it's real, it's happening now. When you pay attention to it, you're practicing presence. And presence is the only place where actual rest happens. Try it today, find a scent, give it 60 seconds of full attention. Notice what happens to the noise in your head. 7 practices. All simple, all focused on presence and working with your body instead of just your mind. Here's what ties them together. They're all about changing the quality of attention you dedicate to what's already there. Modern self-care sells you products and experiences. Buy this, take that, go there. The Japanese approach is the opposite. Use what you have. Do what you're already doing. Just do it with full attention and purpose. You don't need to do all 7 practices tomorrow. Pick one. The window, the tea, the cleaning. Whatever speaks to you. Do it for a week. Actually do it. Because here's the truth. These practices don't work if you do them once. They work through repetition, through creating patterns that become structure, through training yourself to be present in moments where you're usually on autopilot. You're not broken. You're just disconnected from the direct experience of being alive. These practices reconnect you. They pull you back into your body, into the present moment, into contact with the physical world. This is self-care that actually works. Your need for purpose, for presence, for physical engagement with your environment. Your need to slow down in a world that profits from your acceleration. Thanks for staying until the end. If these reflections brought you clarity, subscribe and turn on notifications for more. A simple like helps this space continue to grow. See you in the next chapter.